Some players transform games, carry systems and hold dressing rooms together, yet their names barely survive a single news cycle. In this video, we are finally slowing down the noise to give 7 of them the respect they actually deserve. Coming in at number 7, Mikel Merino of Arsenal. Arsenal went and dropped big money on Viktor Gyökeres, the classic "this is the striker that finally fixes everything" signing. He's back from injury now. Havertz is edging towards a return after building his rep as Arteta's original false 9. And yet, when it's Chelsea away in a title race, the manager still rolls with Merino up top. That tells you everything. This isn't some emergency one-off anymore. Since last season, Merino's turned the false 9 role into his own lane. It started with that Leicester game where he came off the bench as an experiment and scored both goals in a 2-0 win. Then came the first big Chelsea kill shot at the Emirates, near post header from an Odegaard corner in a tight 1-0 derby. Fast forward to this season at Stamford Bridge, red card drama, Arsenal chasing the game, and it's Merino again timing his run perfectly, attacking Xhaka's cross and burying the equaliser, then nearly winning it with another header late on. Across 2025, he's stacked up a ridiculous amount of goals and assists for a guy who was signed as a midfielder, quietly putting up striker numbers while everyone debates Gyökeres' ceiling and waits for Havertz to come back. The wild part? Most of the discourse still treats him like a clever stopgap, not one of the most reliable big game forwards in England. If anyone deserves more praise than he gets, it's the temporary number 9 who keeps showing up when it matters most. Number 6, Granit Xhaka of Sunderland. 2 years ago, his name meant red cards, meltdowns and banter-era Arsenal edits. Now he's wearing red and white stripes, captain's armband on his arm, and somehow he's the grown-up dragging Sunderland from just stay up to why are they suddenly competing with the big boys? You see it every time they play a top side. Xhaka is the one dropping between the centre-backs to help them play out, barking at the full-backs to push 5 yards higher, waving midfielders into position. When the game gets messy, he's the calm pass into feet that resets everything. When Sunderland need a spark, he'll step up with a switch of play, a line-breaking ball, or that one hit from the edge of the box he still has in his locker. But the biggest thing he brought isn't a stat, it's standards. Training intensity goes up. Newly promoted Sunderland sitting 6th after 14 games, and young players suddenly look more mature. The team stops folding after going 1-0 down because their captain quite literally won't let them. And yet, a lot of people still talk about him like the Arsenal version never died. They remember the boos, not the rebuild. For a player who's completely changed the mentality of an entire club, Xhaka deserves way more respect than he gets. If you want more unapologetic football takes like this, hit like and subscribe to Goal 90 so you don't miss the next one. Let's continue with number 5, Raphinha of Barcelona. When he's not there, you feel it straight away. In that 2-1 Clásico defeat to Real Madrid, Barca had plenty of the ball but almost no real one versus one threat out wide. Then away at Chelsea, fresh off an injury and only fit for a late cameo, he watched most of a 3-0 Champions League nightmare from the bench while the attack looked blunt and easy to manage. Once he properly returned, the whole picture shifted. In the 3-1 comeback against Alaves, he sets up Lamine Yamal for the equaliser and then Dani Olmo for the winner. Against Atletico, he scores in another 3-1 statement win. Same coach, same shape, but with Raphinha back, Barca suddenly have balance, vertical runs, and someone who can drag 2 defenders out of position on his own. It's clear that in this Barcelona team, Raphinha has to play second fiddle to the homegrown wonder kid, Lamine Yamal. Raphinha still only finished 5th in the Ballon d'Or, even as joint Champions League top scorer and with historic goal contributions for Barca, and you could feel a lot of the online energy going toward pushing their La Masia boy instead of the Brazilian who carried them all year. But even then, Barca probably haven't fully appreciated Yamal either. He's still only 18, already deciding big games, winning trophies, and living in a pressure bubble where every touch gets clipped for social media. Both of them deserve more love from awards, from fans, and from the wider football conversation. Number 4, Luis Diaz of Bayern Munich. At Liverpool, a lot of people got stuck on the misses. He's wasteful, the final ball isn't elite. But now he's at Bayern, you see what top coaches have always seen. A ridiculous worker who drags defenders into chaos for 90 minutes straight. Vincent Kompany literally called it chaotic creativity after a 3-1 win over St. Pauli, praising the way Diaz keeps making something happen even when he's on the floor. Since arriving in Munich, he's put up goals and assists in double digits across competitions, pressing like a madman, stretching backlines, and helping Bayern rebuild their whole left side after losing big names. He's the winger you feel in every phase of the game, not just when he's on the score sheet. And only now, with him gone, do Liverpool fans really see the whole. He was huge in their title run, with 13 league goals and 5 assists in 2024-25, constantly bailing them out in tight games. Post-Diaz, the club's in their worst run of form since the 1950s, trying to bed in new attackers while the wide threat looks way more predictable. It turns out all that messy dribbling, all that constant pressing and risk-taking was a lot more valuable than people were willing to admit when he still wore red. Third on this list is Mohammed Kudus. While the hype cycle has already moved on to the next shiny wonder kid, Kudus is still out here terrorizing defenses every single week. Xavi Simons had his moment where every comp and every thread was about him, but as his form dipped and the noise cooled, Kudus just kept that same intensity. Goals, ball carrying, winning duels, pressing like a midfielder, but finishing like a forward. He's become that nightmare assignment for defenders, too strong to bully, too quick to step tight, too technical to leave space. Coaches love him because you can plug him in anywhere across the front line, or as a roaming 10. Need someone to carry the ball 40 meters under pressure? Kudus. Need a late runner into the box? Kudus. Need someone to press the opposition pivots until they hate football? Kudus. Still Kudus. But because he doesn't have the same marketing machine, the same golden boy narrative behind him, his name doesn't come up nearly as often as it should in those best young attackers in Europe debates. The tape is there, the output is there, the versatility is ridiculous. He's not just a vibes dribbler or a Europa League merchant, he's a system warper who deserves way more praise than he gets. Sliding into number 2, Alejandro Garnacho. Garnacho is the kind of winger old school fans call reckless and data nerds quietly love. After evolving from super sub to starter at United, he's now doing the same thing at Chelsea, starting big games, tracking back, and still finding energy to roast fullbacks in the 85th minute. Some of his goals have been outrageous, overhead kicks, top corner rockets, and that actually works against him. People remember the highlights and forget the consistency that came with them. Watch him closely and you see why coaches trust him. He presses hard, he's willing to double up with his fullback, and he doesn't hide when the team is struggling. Give him the ball in a broken game, and he'll just drive over and over until someone panics and leaves space. That chaos is a weapon, especially in tight matches where everyone else is playing safe. Yet the conversation around him is still weirdly stuck on TikTok baller, attitude, or whether he's too selfish, even when the numbers say he's one of the most productive wide players of his age group in Europe. For a guy who changes the tempo of games, drags teams up the pitch, and delivers real end product, Garnacho deserves way more respect than just being treated like a clip machine. Finally, at number 1, Mason Greenwood. Greenwood will never get the praise he deserves, will never win a prestigious award, and may never get called up by England again. Everyone knows why. On the pitch alone, he's one of the most naturally gifted forwards of his generation. 2 feet, no weak side, can play right, left, or through the middle, and right now, he's showing it every week. Since moving to Marseille, he's turned into their main weapon in Ligue 1, leading their scoring charts, stacking goals and assists, and dragging them through tight European nights when they badly need a moment of quality. Look at the numbers and it's not just vibes. He's near the top of the league for goals plus assists among wide forwards his age. His shot map is full of high-value chances he creates for himself, and his chance creation in open play is right up there with the best attackers outside the absolute elite. Coaches love him because he can finish like a 9, link play like a 10, and still run the channels like a winger. The situation off the pitch is serious and will always shape how people feel about him, and that's fair. But if we're talking strictly about footballing ability and current output, very few players get this little open praise while performing at that higher level. As a pure footballer, Greenwood absolutely deserves more credit than he gets. If you're into football videos that cut through the hype and focus on what players really do for their teams, hit like, subscribe to Goal 90, and drop your most underrated baller in the comments. Then, queue up our next episode on stars your club simply cannot live without.